What's up guys, welcome back to Focal Collective. Today I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about one of my favorite 35mm cameras, the Contax G1. The Contax G series camera was released in two versions. The G1 was released in 1994, and then it was followed up by the G2 in 1996. The G1 cost me about $600 on eBay. And that came with this Zeiss 45mm f2 lens, and I think it was a great buy for, considering what this camera is. It's a very sharp lens and it's a very premium camera. It's a titanium body. For the body of the G2 alone, it will cost you around $1,000. Honestly, so the differences between the G1 and the G2 to me personally are minor. So with the G2, they updated the autofocus system so this is a autofocus rangefinder camera. The G1 goes up to about 1/2000, and it only has one autofocus mode. So with the G2, what they did is they added a autofocus continuous and autofocus single shot, similar to what most modern DSLRs have today. And they also upgraded the shutter to go to 1/6000. So the clips I included at the beginning of this video, I shot at the Chinese New Year parade today in Washington, D.C. And the reason that I included those shots is because I was taking this out to shoot some street photography. And this camera is great for street photography. It was made to rival the Leica M7 as it came out about the same time. And the reason I love this camera for street photography is because with the autofocus capabilities, you aren't messing with the manual focus, and it's just a little bit easier to ensure that you're going to get the shots you want. I've had this camera for about 6 months now, and I've taken it to New York City. I've shot it quite a bit here in Washington, D.C., and I've really fell in love with it. And that's why at the beginning of the video I said it's one of my favorite 35mm cameras. I haven't had any issues with the autofocus. I will say that, out of the typical roll, a couple will be out of focus, but generally most are spot on, even at f2. This lens is ridiculously sharp, and it's great for portraits. I'll show a couple on screen now. But yeah, overall, just a great experience with this camera so far. I would recommend this camera to anyone who's used to the modern conveniences of autofocus and just really wants, if you're a run and gun shooter and you really just want to ensure that you're not going to miss the shot. And that's kind of why I got it, because, with traditional manual focus cameras, some of the older ones like, a Canon A1, it's just hard to ensure that you're going to get the shot that you want every time. I know traditionally you could stop down f8, just to get more shots in focus, but for me, I just really wanted to isolate my subjects and be a quick run and gun shooter. The only thing I will caution you about with this camera, with it being an older autofocus camera, it is electronic, and so with the G1 and the G2, the autofocus is the main focus system. It's almost nearly impossible to manual focus this camera because it is a rangefinder, and all it has for manual focus is a zone focusing system, so you're essentially guessing what the focus is. So I would not recommend it to anyone who wants to switch between autofocus and manual focus frequently. And also, if you're a little squeamish about the possibility that the camera could just die on you. Overall though, I would recommend this camera to anyone. If you have any questions about this system, or between a G1 and a G2 or something similar, feel free to drop it in the comments below and I'll give you my input on that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you found this informative, and see you guys next time.